Hey guys, Tisha here, and we are back for another Love and Marriage Huntsville review. Season 6, Episode 18. Tiffany's event finally begins, and all the ladies are there. We even see Tisha arrive as, I believe it was a pastor friend, is saying prayer and speaking. Tisha gives everybody a hug, and immediately she is feeling the energy that is going on in the room. It doesn't really feel quite welcoming. As she sits at the table, Kimmy brings up the expo and how she thinks that they should talk. That way they can give her feedback or give one another feedback. Tisha doesn't want it. She shuts it down. She says that the issue is dead. She doesn't want to keep talking about it. Meanwhile, Nell is trying to get her point across about how she was invited to the expo by Tisha and in one way at the party, at their daughter's birthday party, because they mentioned wanting them to come, but she wasn't formally invited or told about it again. Nell is very annoying, but Nell is getting the job done, and I'm not too mad at her this episode. They go back and forth. Nell points out that her energy at this table is completely different than the energy that she was giving at dinner. At the table, Tisha really had her husband do all of the talking, and she was really quiet and kind of meek when they were conversing about like the expo and their apologies and not including them and all those other things. But when they're going back and forth, it's like, you guys remember, you're arguing at an event that's open to other people, and it's about meeting Tiffany's son, Baby Ace. Tiffany should have had like music or something playing, because the space to me didn't feel like very warm. It just felt like it was off. So it just needed something else. Tisha said that the expo is over, and if anybody else wants to do it, they can do it. Kimmy can't understand why Tisha isn't willing to hear her more and why she keeps saying she doesn't want to talk about it. Tisha doesn't want to talk about it anymore because at this point, it's been like, how many times are we going to talk about the expo? We've heard it several episodes by now. For it to not have been that great, and for so many people to have something to say about it, y'all all said your things. Let's keep it moving. Nell says that Tisha is giving attitude, which she is, because Tisha is coming off as passive aggressive. But at the same time, even though I don't always agree with Tisha, she does deserve some type of pass, because all y'all are coming at her all at once about things that you've already spoken with her separately and said that you come to a conclusion and understanding about. Tiffany asks about Kiki. The ladies are like surprised that Tiffany would even invite Kiki, and with their dynamic, I am too. It's not like you were inviting her to an event. You were inviting her to an event where she would meet your son. Why would you guys expect for Kiki to come to a baby reveal to a person that she's not even really that close to, for them to just later probably ask her questions about what they've seen in the news? Tiffany says that she does believe that they should do another expo, and she mentions the $100. She talks about, what Stormy had told her, and Tisha just is trying to dismiss it. Stormy is looking at her like, do you want to talk about it? And Nell's like, I want to hear about it. Despite, Tisha trying to not hear what I'm saying and her not talking to me, I want you to tell me what happened. Nell is there to do a job, and that job is to carry bones and stir the pots. And I'm not really mad at it in this instance, because Mel doing this is showing us the other conversations that were had that we were not privy to. As Tiffany is explaining things, Tisha walks away. Nell points out that Marceau said that they didn't get any money. He did say that. Now, my question is he saying that they didn't get any money from the event, or is he saying that he didn't get any money from people? Because I can see both people's point of view, because you're at the dinner and you're saying, I didn't get any money. And Tisha is at this table saying, it's not that he said he didn't get any money, it's he's saying that we didn't receive any type of profit from the event. So I get it, because at the table he did say that. Nell says Kimmy and Stormy paid. Stormy brought up that it just looks shady because things kept on changing. Y'all aren't really being, transparent about the figures, all that other stuff. And Tisha says, if y'all have so much to say, you guys should just do it yourselves. Kimmy really wants them to have a meeting to discuss how they improve. Kimmy says, it's not that we're trying to gang up on you. We just want to talk about how to make things better. Stormy brought up how what she didn't understand about Tisha was she was okay with her at the expo, but then afterwards she mentioned that she had a problem with how she spoke to her husband. I said it in the previous review. Stormy, what it was that her husband probably got upset with her for not defending him. That's not really hard to understand. Tisha didn't want to come to y'all for the money. He wanted the money. Her business partner said, get the money. I'm glad that Stormy brought up how he's, while she's talking and saying what she's saying, one of the things that she says is that he's acting like a woman. And he shouldn't have, spoken to me that way. Mel says, I'm glad that Stormy, that you brought that up, because I was told that when you guys went out and had a dinner with the Fletchers, he had a lot of things to say about me. Tisha says that she doesn't really want a part of it, that she wants Marceau to handle it. And one thing that I can say that Melody did was Mel was like, I agree, I want to address it with him. Stormy says again that he acts like a woman, and that's the end of it. They ended with her saying that he acts like a woman, he should put on a wig, all that other stuff. Things that if somebody said that about Courtney, her husband, she would have been going off on. But it's okay to talk to Tisha like that. So Stormy, you got to watch how you move, boo, because some of the things that you're saying you wouldn't want, you're doing to Tisha's husband. Kimmy and Maurice are meeting up with his brother Micah, who is the project manager of this building that they plan on, they're renovating, and they want to move the office to that location. Kimmy says that Micah being a project manager for them is nice, but the problem that she has with him is that he's missed several deadlines that they were already supposed to be in this location and done. So the fact that the dates keep changing, she has a problem with it. This is why you can't always do business with family, because family feels like they should get passes that they really shouldn't get. Just my opinion. Kimmy uses the time to talk to her husband, Maurice, about what happened at Ace's reveal. She talked about how Nell said that Marceau said we didn't pay anything. Maurice questions if this is coming from Nell or if his brother really did say that. Kimmy is like, it has to be coming from him because Tisha was there and Tisha did not correct Nell when she was saying what she said. That she feels like he obviously said it because Tisha didn't say anything. She then brings up how he's popped off at all these people, and then she lists the names, and all of the names happen to be women. Kimmy was trying to make it seem like, when he gets upset or whatever, he says something slick, he says it to everybody. But in that instance, Kimmy was only naming woman names. So your point kind of got lost. He agrees that they should all sit down and have a conversation, a constructive criticism talk about what happened at the expo. We come back from break. We see Nell at her daycare facility, daycare center, as she calls it. And Mel is there to visit. They recap the events from Tiffany's, I don't want to call it party, from the baby reveal, and they talk about how good the food was, and then we hear them talk about, the stuff with Tisha and Marceau again. And one of the things that Mel brings up is you brought cases of their black, I think is it wine or champagne? You brought cases of black from them. You supported them. You did all these things for them, but you were not invited to the expo. We then hear Nell add on that Chris spoke with them before the day before the event. He spoke with Marceau, and once again, they were not invited. So now I get what you're trying to say, that they had ample opportunity to be invited, but if you all wanted to be invited so badly, because now we're making this a thing, why not say, hey, can we be a part or something prior to the night of the event? I don't know. As they're talking about business, Nell said that Tisha was asking them questions about business and that Tisha doesn't know a lot about their business, yet Tisha has 85% of the business. And when she asked Nell what her and Chris have, they split everything down the middle. It's 50-50. Mel then brings up what a lot of us kind of concluded a while ago about Tisha and her husband, that when getting government contracts, there are certain certifications that if a woman has, the government is more, they tend to favor the woman in certain aspects, and they will give the woman first dibs on certain contracts. As a result, some people have found a way to get around it and will make it seem as if the woman is the one running the business, because the more contracts that they have for the business, the more money they get. Mel then talks about how that she feels like one of the reasons why the money continues to be an issue and they're saying different things is because they tend to be very secretive when it comes to things like this, because they may have either made more money than they want to say, or they may have made less money than they want to say, or they may not have given as much as they said they wanted to give. Mel went to go look at something, and then she remembers that she has Tisha blocked and Tisha probably has her blocked. So Nell's like, so how can y'all be friends if y'all have each other blocked? Mel says she don't even feel like going and trying to find her or whatever and unblock her. That's because, Mel, you don't really consider her to be a friend. I'm just saying. Mel then asks her, like, so as far as Tisha, what are you thinking? What are you saying? And she says that they'll just be cordial. Based on the interactions that she's had, she don't think Tisha really like her, and they can just be cordial. Nell talks about how she believes that Marceau may have a thing with women. She tells her about the whole comment that he made at their dinner saying that he didn't know what she did. He knew that Chris made money, and he thought that she was just a pretty wife. Mel adds that she can see that he would say something like that. Nell says, I think that he likes getting in between Mel and Tisha. Then the producers, being good the way that they are, show clips and flashbacks of the things that he said before. And one of the things that was said when Mel was trying to get Tisha to go take her to a networking event was, he said, we aren't going to be a power couple. There's no need for that. Mel then says, Marceau is afraid of Tisha being cool and around me, because her being cool and around me would help allow her to tap onto my strengths and to pull onto my strengths, and then be able to leave his lying, manipulative ass. I felt every bit of that statement. It is so true. I remember that he didn't even really want her to go back to school, that he just wanted her to basically be a stay-at-home mom. She says she's not going to talk to Tisha about the issues that she has with him because she wants things to stay cool with her and Tisha, and she's going to talk to Tisha's husband. We come back from break and we see Kiki at her house, and she's talking to her husband as he's cooking, and she says she keeps getting sick and that's why she missed the event. She says that she's worried that people are going to think that it was because she's been relapsing and she's trying to avoid things because of what's been put out in the media and all that. But that's not what it is. He said, I know that you aren't using or anything because at this point I can tell when something is off. If you went to that event, I don't think they would have been so much as talking about your relapse. They would have been asking more questions about the theft, about what they saw on Crime Stoppers. Her husband talks about how some of the things that she's having, because she's talking about the stomach pains and all these other things, that it might be due to the methadone that she's continuing to take. I have mixed feelings about methadone because there are people who've used for such a long time that they then get prescribed methadone, but methadone is still a drug. So I can see why her husband is bringing it up. Let's be clear, any form of prescription has side effects. My mother recently had, they're saying it was like a mild heart attack. She had a blockage in her right coronary artery, and as a result she had to get a stent put in, and they now have her on blood thinners and another medication and other things so that the body doesn't try to attack the stent that's been put in. And one of the side effects of one of the medications that they put her on when given to African Americans is that they have a lot of body aches and they're easily bruised and all these other things, but this is supposed to help her. So she switched to a different medication due to how badly the medicine that they first prescribed was making her feel. I say all this to say he has a very valid point in saying that this medication could be causing other problems, but Kiki does not want to get off of the methadone, and I think that's one of the reasons why she's so quick to say no, because to me, if I'm having problems like that, I would try to want to look more into it and maybe look at my husband and what he's saying. He also brings up, like, look, you're having all these problems, but you're making poor choices. You're eating late. You're ordering up all this Chinese. You're doing all these things, even though you know that you're having like gastro problems. She then talks about him and how he bombards her and he doesn't support her. And Kiki, I get that you may feel that way because we're not seeing everything, but you can't say that he doesn't support you because he's still married to you despite all of the mess that you've put him through. Despite the addiction, despite the lies that come from the addiction, the theft that may have come from the addiction, the going back and forth to the hospital, what this has done to him because people know that he's married to you, what this has done to your children, he's still stuck by you. So you can't say that he doesn't support you. Maybe he doesn't do everything that you want him to do, but he does kind of support you. That's enough of them. We get up to Mel and Marceau, and the first thing I noticed as she walked up there was she was wearing a Millimeter shirt, one of her shirts. He is walking and he says that he knows that she probably already wants to talk about the dinner and what was said to the Fletchers. And that's because Tisha let him know, like, this is what was said to you at the thing. They go through all the formalities. Mel is very nice. And in the beginning, she's not passive aggressive, but Mel at some point does become passive aggressive. He says that he likes her energy, and then Mel begins to talk to him about what she was told about what happened at the Fletchers. He says that Nell may have embellished things, and he believes that Mel embellished things, and then he repeats what he said, which, whether he wants to admit it or not, was directed towards her. Despite him saying that he did not say her name specifically, You saying that you don't want to pay somebody to speak and talk about selling t-shirts was shade to Mel. He said that he doesn't value that as a business. And he doesn't feel like e-commerce is a business. And Mel says, okay, you say all of that, yet you're a part of e-commerce. They go back and forth about it. You were trying to shade her in that moment, and you just need to own that you were trying to shade her in the moment. He didn't say it because he just said it and because it's about e-commerce. Because if you really hated e-commerce, like Mel says, why are you a part of it? I guess she gets a little teary-eyed, and he says, don't cry, Mel, don't cry, whatever. And she's like, I'm not crying because of you. Please don't think that I'm crying because of you. And you just need to stop worried about that. And you need to worry about Tisha leaving you. And she repeats what she said to Mel about, him not wanting them to be around one another because of the strength that they may pull off of each other. Overall, this was a decent episode. I'm interested in seeing what happens next week because they're not done with their conversation. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, and subscribe. And until next time.